What's going on, Bob?
What's going on, man? How are you?
Good, good. I'm excited to do
Good, man.
this. Thanks for being the first solo of the year. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man.
So, um, we talked a little bit over messaging and stuff, but well, first of all, get into I guess want to give a little bit of a background, your background, and kind of what you're doing right now.
Absolutely, man. So, thinking back 11 years ago, um, just was interested in, helping people move better, helping people kind of figure out, going to the gym, being a business owner myself. And like, what do I do? How do I help people? So, fast forward 11 years now, we've been a personal trainer and group fitness instructor and now a gym owner.
Oh wow! So you started out training at somebody else's gym because now you have your own gym, of course, and
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, man. We started with, it was called 360 Unique Fitness. And then now, actually, the previous owner actually trains for me. So it's
Oh
kind of an
wow.
interesting flip flop.
Yeah, that's awesome. How many
Super
trainers
cool.
do you have at the gym right now?
So I have four trainers outside of myself,
Okay.
and then group fitness instructors. So a total of like seven of us.
Oh well. Well.
It's
So
exciting, man.
what was that process like going from okay, you're a trainer, you work with your clients and stuff, to all of a sudden now you're managing people and you're responsible for the brand and all that stuff.
That is a great big question. Love it though. So it was very interesting because when it was just me as a personal trainer, that's all I did. I didn't have to manage people. It was just me.
Hmm.
And then going into the management side of things, a lot of those trainers that now work, for me, um, I work with them, kind of cohesively, but now I've stepped into that role of training and managing them. So it's been interesting for sure.
Yeah, and so with I guess if I go back a little bit further, where were your first clients as when you were just a trainer? Where were they coming from? Were they coming into the gym because they knew the gym, or are you going out there kind of finding them on your own?
So that takes me way back. I love that you asked that question as well. One of the things was I had a friend who he was going to the gym with me and things like that. And then I was like, hey, I think I'm going to become a personal trainer.
Hmm.
And he's like, well, keep me in the loop. I'd like to know.
Nice.
So after I got certified, he was the very first client I took on. And I have to smile looking back at myself training him versus now.
Yeah. Yeah. I see like what checking out your Instagram and stuff. I see you guys do a lot. It seems like a lot of the classes, and you have a very a unique mix of clientele, it seems like. You see the kids groups, and then I see like let me see if I can pull it up here real quick.
Absolutely.
Oh, all right. Sorry. Okay, so we
No, you're good,
have
man.
um yeah, the kids groups. I see you have it seems like a lot of like if I had to break down the ratio of male to female, it seems like there's a lot of female um clientele. Is that fair, or is that
That is a very fair point, and we do. Um,
mhm.
I notice a lot of our clientele are from before we took over the gym.
Oh, okay.
So we we have the class side, but then we also have what's called a lifting class side of things, where we'll give people a key, things like that.
Oh wow,
That tends to be more the male side of things.
that makes sense. Hmm. That's
So
awesome,
that's
man.
interesting.
Yeah, and it's great because and it's not necessarily one way or the other. It's just it is awesome, because you a lot of times you do have, especially let's say, I think if we just got to be honest here, like sometimes I think females feel a little bit, or they can feel a little bit more intimidated or kind of like not so safe in certain environments. And it seems like you got to do a really good job of accommodating that, and.
Yeah, and that has been something that people have brought to my attention very much, And every gym is its own thing, but for
Yeah.
us, people are like, "Hey, I feel comfortable being here." We're not a private gym, but it's like we end up with a lot more people viewing it as a private gym, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely has that vibe of like you go there, community. At least for me, I've never had the privilege of being there yet. But
One day.
yeah, one day, because we were in Ohio and now we're in New Mexico, so one of these days we'll make it out there.
Sounds good.
But I love the way you guys show the community and the groups and stuff. So that's really awesome. Do you so you actually purchased the gym that you used to work at, or is it a different gym that you purchased?
So we purchased the gym that we worked that I was a trainer at, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Interesting story with that. So working with her name was Maria. So working with her for the 8 years before we took over,
Oh wow.
she would often say, "Hey, I when I think of someone taking over the gym, I think of you.
Mm-hmm.
People like you. You care about people."
Mm-hmm.
And so coming up to like COVID and everything, people were coming to the gym. We had a good amount of clients.
Mm-hmm.
But then once COVID hit, she's like, business has gone down. I'm looking to step out of the business. Would you and your wife be open to taking over the gym? We sat down and crunched numbers, and so took over the
Mm-hmm.
gym I previously trained at.
Okay. So what year was that you purchased?
That was in 2020.
20. It was during, okay, right in the thick of it then, huh? Well,
Yeah,
that's wow, wow. What yeah, that's I know every industry had, struggles, and I mean I was in the food industry going from 2020 into 2021 is when I started working in managing a coffee shop and coffee roastery and stuff. And
I remember
so,
that.
yeah, yeah. And then previously to that, I was doing marketing, but going from into the food industry and stuff, and obviously everything being the limitations and everything, finding ways to to keep that revenue going and stuff was interesting.
Yeah,
Like using drive through and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it was very courageous for you guys to purchase during that time, obviously, because
yeah, man. I mean,
yeah.
it was interesting, and actually, the conversation went on for 2 years. So it's 2022 is when we purchased, but the conversation went on for 2 years from
Okay.
2020.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking of like, yeah, it actually was 2022,
Mm-hmm.
but the conversations really surfaced right after COVID,
Mm-hmm.
before we took over.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome that you had that time to kind of get on the same page, especially if you're, if it's one thing if you're like a single guy and stuff, it's kind of like the
Yeah,
risk is on me, but um, if you're married, you got kids and stuff, it's a whole nother ball game.
that's been very interesting for us as well, because one of the cool things that, Kay, my wife, had really talked about is we want to have a kids area at our gym, where parents can bring their kids, they can be. And so that has been a little easier for us to make the transition because the kids can still be there, versus trying to figure out where to put
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's huge. Yeah. Um, I don't know how in depth you want to get with
that.
the
No,
business
let's
stuff,
do it.
but if there's anything you don't want to hear, we can obviously cut it. But uh,
No, that's great.
all right. So like when you look at the business and stuff, um, and the size of the building and everything, um, what do you think your capacity is? Like like how close are you to being maxed out? How many more members do you think you could bring on?
And that's a grand question because it actually happened for probably the first time the other day where it was before the shoulder surgery, but I went in and I was training a client and there was 20 people in the class. And I was like, man, where am I going to train this client of mine? And so if classes are like that, we need to make some big transitions because we don't have the space capacity to maybe have, say 50 people in a class or even
Mm,
30, 35 people in a class.
mm-hmm,
So kind of toward that capacity, it's building.
mm-hmm.
So we need to, keep thinking of those ends
Yeah,
as well.
it's a good problem to have when you have a lot of customers.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah. So is it one big room, or do you have different like rooms for different stuff, like classes or cases, like workout equipment, I guess, whatever?
No, that's a good question because our previous space, everything was together.
Mm,
But now at this space, we have the group fitness room and then we have our weight room. So we're able
Nice.
to, have people working out in the weight room and it not really interfere with class size, basically.
Hmm. Oh, that's awesome. That's huge. Um, is there? Well, first of all, where are you located for sure? Like the town. I always get the towns
So
wrong out there.
that's all right. I get it, dude, 100%. We're located in Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania. So um, about 10 minutes from like Susquehanna University, Bucknell University.
Oh
We're
wow,
like 20 minutes from Bucknell. So in Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania.
that's awesome, man. Do you think that those college students stuff are like you'd be able to pull them in? I know that a lot of the universities they have their own gyms and everything, but do you see that as kind of a market, or do you think it's more your clientele is more like families and because you have the kids space there and you have you know
Well, and that's a really interesting question because when I took over, I was like, oh, Susquehanna has their own gym. They're fine. But then we had some of the college students come in and say, hey, we really wish we would have found out about you earlier
oh,
because of the fact, yeah, we have a gym, but we don't have anyone to teach us to move well.
mm, mm-hmm,
So it's the college students, but then a lot of family as well. So I think a mix of both of those.
mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because I had seen a while back. I had seen you were working with at least one athlete for sure. That was
Yeah.
specifically like that was his goal. You know what I mean? So that's its own whole market. You know,
Oh
where you
my
can work
goodness.
with them. Yeah.
The athletes are a whole different level. I mean, and I always tell people, I said, like, I have to do an incredible job with you because I'm going to grow off of referrals.
Mm-hmm.
So the athletes are doing really well to train with me, and I'm getting a lot of feedback from those people and referrals as well.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever considered like reaching out to teams where you do like a camp where you actually go and work with the team there like on site or bringing them in or something like that or no?
Yeah, I actually have thought about doing that. I haven't done that yet.
Mm-hmm.
I did run like some speed and agility camps, and I had probably athletes from 3 or 4 schools
That's
who were
awesome.
coming in, and so that's a really huge market. It's just like knowing how to reach out to them in a way and like
Mhm.
talk to the coaches. A lot of coaches are like, "Hey, I know what I'm doing. I'm good."
Yeah, yeah.
So get in that
Yeah,
market.
and that's fair. Like I just started coaching out here at a local high school, and I know like we brought in some college coaches, and they're obviously working on this actual sport that we're doing. But even when I was training at in college, I remember them bringing people in who were they might not be working on soccer, but they're working on building, like you said, movement and you're out there with the bands and everything, So I'm
Yeah,
sure some of it's like relationships with the coaches and getting to know them and like showing the value, or yeah, it's just interesting, yeah, to me. Like,
and I like that you asked that question because I think a lot of my athletes who she's coming back in the spring. She plays basketball, so she's
mm,
in 5 days a week doing
nice.
that.
Hmm.
But her coach, I worked with his son, and it came off a referral from her basketball coach to
Okay.
come to me, which was cool as well because then we had that connection and bridge there.
Hmm. That's huge, man. Um, what are your is it so it is mainly word of mouth and stuff. You're not spending like in terms of advertising dollars. Are you having to spend money advertising? If you do, what does that look like? Or is it more word of mouth and social media?
So we did run some ads. Things worked well. Certain ones, were better than others. Um, Having someone, who knows a lot more about marketing as far as presentation, things like that. That's something we're working on. Someone finding someone as well for that to do it
Hmm.
well. Um, but a lot of it right now is word of mouth because I don't really know how to do that super well. So
Hmm.
that's definitely something we want to do. We just haven't been able to capitalize on it too much
Hmm.
yet.
What have you done so far?
So we've done a lot of Facebook and like Instagram ads.
Hmm.
Um, our Facebook has worked better than our Instagram, even though they're
Hmm.
kind of tied together.
Right.
But I say definitely probably our Facebook for the most part.
Hmm. Yeah, and you do have like a little bit different demographics, even though it's the same owner. So I can completely understand. I mean, they have really powerful tools in terms of the targeting, like who are you actually trying to get there and stuff, you know. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I
Cool,
mean,
man.
and maybe, you can shed some light on some of those things about how to help us get better on those things. Those are huge for us too.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think
Okay.
like social media, like you can, I think the organic content is huge, you know what I mean, like if you find the trend and how do we do the trend that's in, and yeah, it seems like, well, everybody's doing this, well, but everybody, like, they get in these loops, right, of like,
Yeah.
we're watching this, and if they really like the sound that's going with the trend or whatever, and they're just scrolling you know, and so if you're able to capitalize on that, um I think that's a great way to start, you know. Just have like a really
Yeah.
active social media page where you're following the trends, and you're I think, well, and the other side of it too though is, I think would be interesting is like a behind the scenes type thing with you, like
Yeah.
kind of day in the life slash vlog. It doesn't have to be like your whole fam, like, you know, if you don't want to put that stuff in there, but like, um, you know, you're pulling up to the gym, you're getting out, you get in, you know what I mean, and kind of creating
Yeah.
that would be
Absolutely.
interesting. Um,
That's a good idea, and we'll have to definitely do that. I know Kay has thought about that as well. So
mhm.
those are huge.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Also, I have to ask, what about the shoulder surgery? We're going to talk about that or not?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
So, what
Um,
happened? And
so I was actually playing church softball. Actually,
oh no,
uh, first game I played of the year. So
oof,
I always tell people the story, but I was up to bat. Hit one, got on first base. I'm like, I'm on it.
yeah,
So
this is my
one of
year,
my guys moved me over to second, and I'm like, all right, we got to score here.
right?
We didn't win the game, by the way, but so they hit the ball out to like left center, and I'm like running, and my base coach didn't say go or not, but
Mm,
everyone else is yelling run around, go, score.
right.
So I'm like coming in, catcher moves out into the playing area. So I'm like, oh, I should dive. Mind you, it was not the most graceful dive and slide we have ever seen in your life.
Uh,
So landed on the right side, and I was like,
okay.
well, that doesn't feel very good. So got up. I was like, oh, my arm feels a little weird. So our team went out to pitch. I was a pitcher. So I pitched a strike, pitched a ball, and then the third pitch was a strike. Hit it back to me. I went to throw the ball. It went only about 5 feet, and that's where everything did not.
Uh, Jeez. So it was like a
So
moment. That's what I was curious about. Like, was it? I wondered if it was like just wear over time, or was it like a moment? It was definitely a moment, you know, for you.
it
Like,
was a moment, man,
oh
and
man.
wild story. Um, when I went in for surgery, then they figured out after doing therapy for 8 months that you need surgery.
8 months. Ooh.
Yeah. So went in, and he said after surgery, he's like, your rotator is like, I had to repair that. And then also like what's called your labrum, which helps with stability in the shoulder.
Mm.
The top front half of that is gone.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ay,
So
ay.
he put in an anchor screw and stuff, but that's the story of the shoulder.
So you got hardware in there now, huh?
Yes, I do. I'm
Ay,
like,
ay,
I gotta
yeah.
watch out going through airports now.
Yeah. Ay, 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 man, that's crazy. Cause yeah, I've
Yeah.
like had, I'm blanking on which shoulder it is right now, but like had a little bit of pain in it. But I think it's just from like wear and
Wear and
stuff.
tear.
Yeah, and so I was wondering if that was the same thing for you or not. So I was about to ask you, but just what I learned from this is don't play softball like over 30 or whatever.
Yep, don't play it at 34, man. Don't do it.
Oh,
Oh, it was wild.
dang, yeah, that's tough. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it was a crazy story.
so you got how many weeks of recovery then now?
So I have 2 more weeks in my sling,
Okay.
and then I get to come out of it. And probably by mid March, we'll be all done with therapy. So
Okay.
and then we'll be back to it.
Yeah. Back to training and stuff. I think.
Back to training, man.
Yeah. I was talking
Get
to
it
Kay.
done.
She was like, "It's all legs for you for right now."
Yeah, man. I tell you, I'm like, I wouldn't be able to pick myself up.
Oh man. Yeah.
Crawl on the floor, man.
Some quality time with the kids. You know what I mean? Like wait
That's
until.
legit, man. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Sometimes that's what it is. Just like can't change it. You just gotta accept where you're at for the moment and hit it
Yeah,
hard after. So
that's been it, man. That's what we've been doing and trying to stay on it.
yeah. Do you? I guess do you have anything else specifically about the business you want to share, or kind of what is your biggest struggle at the moment, like in terms of the business?
So I was thinking about that. I know you and I had talked a little bit over text and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say probably client flow,
Okay, like new
but
client
that's starting to
acquisition.
pick up.
Okay.
Yeah, client acquisition, because with us, like there's a bunch of gyms around us. We have Planet Fitness, we have the YMCA, there's some other private gyms. So it's like, how do you stand out? And we've been working on that a lot coming into the new year.
Mm-hmm.
And that has started to take a switch for us as far as getting clients through the door and then really solidifying them by the relationship side of things. Because if we build a relationship with them, they're going to feel like they're not just another number.
Right. Mm-hmm. Do you guys do like the day passes and stuff, or is it mainly?
Yeah, we do day passes. A lot of people are doing, either our drop-in day pass, or they're doing some of our punch cards as well,
Mm-hmm.
but mainly memberships and personal training.
Okay. Do you have any data on sorry, excuse me. Do you guys have any data on like if somebody signs up for the year, is it month to month or is it for the year, 6 months, or you have different packages in terms of that?
We have different packages. So
Okay.
it can be month to month. A lot are doing like 3 months.
Okay.
That's what they kind of prefer to do, just because it locks them in long enough to get them to have like a consistent, like they're in all the time.
And that actually gives them a chance to see the progress, because it's hard to make significant progress in 30 days as opposed to 90 days.
Absolutely. I mean, because the progress comes along with them establishing relationships and then being like, well, all the people I'm going to the gym with are seeing these results. Like, what are they doing? And then they kind of hop on the train together.
Do you have some kind of a reward thing where, like, if they bring a guest in, I don't know, I guess that would be an idea. Like, bring a friend in. If they sign up, then you get some kind of a discount or something.
We either do like swag, or we do like a certain percent off your membership. So it might be 10 or 20% off your next membership.
Nice,
because you're both paying to sign up, and you brought that friend. And also the other one is, if you bring a friend, they sign up, we reward you with a free personal training session. Something like that.
That's huge. Yeah, that's smart. Just thinking about like content and how to potentially motivate people to come in or to stay dedicated. For me, I'm obsessed with this whole like 90-day sprints type of thing,
Yeah.
And so part of it started, I can't tell anymore, but in 2019 I was like really going like hard on it and stuff, you know what I mean? And and that's kind of the approach I took, was like 90 days going, like I have it planned, and just that's kind of the strategy. And now that's kind of what I'm applying to the show, is that same mentality of just like, these are I think it's good to have that long-term vision and those for the year or for 5, whatever it is, right? But I'm approaching it in a 90-day sprint mentality. And I wonder, like, if you had some kind of a 90-day challenge every 3 months, you know what I mean? To where people could participate, and it could even be not necessarily a results thing where it's like, oh, you gotta lose this much, but it's like, how many times do you check into the gym? You know what I mean? How many times? And there's like little swag or something that they get, for wwhoever is the most consistent. You can have different you come up with your own tiers of that, right? But something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that could be interesting.
Well, and I think it's so cool you said that because so many different things revolve around 90 days. When I'm working with someone, I say, give me 90 days to work with
Mm,
you. I said, give me all you have. And at the end of 90 days, let's look at the difference.
mm-hmm,
For myself, like even just attacking a business for 90 days and then rewarding myself at the end of it.
mm-hmm,
Because people are always like, well, if I focus on a year, that's so long,
mm-hmm,
and I've heard these different things. And I'm like, well, why don't we break it down into 90-day sprints and see how it goes for you? And
mm,
continue to work with them through those 90 days. But I mean, I've heard so many different people say work in 90-day cycles because
mm-hmm.
that's going to help you have an end goal, but at the same time, not feel like you're working for something, like endlessly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you kind of hit that marker, and it's like, oh, okay, and you can actually
Yeah.
analyze it and see, and yeah, that's awesome, man.
With all those fourth quarter, first, second, third quarter thing,
Right.
fourth quarter, all that.
Mm-hmm. I know it might be kind of, obviously you're dealing with a health thing right now, and you're kind of getting recovering. So I don't know how
Yeah.
much time you've had to think about it and stuff. But what are some of your goals through March, let's say?
Yeah. So for us, we're at 54 clients just class wise.
Okay.
And so we're looking by the end of March, we want to be up close to 70. So we're looking to grow, right around 16, 17 clients, between now and March.
Okay.
Um, for my outside of like, client growth, like myself, I'd like to have, 3 more personal training clients by March. That's kind
Mm,
of actually setting itself up actually to happen.
nice.
And then the other trainers, I want them to at least be able to have 3 clients each by the end of March as well.
Okay. Three more clients.
Yeah.
So how does that work in terms of speaking from like a managerial or business owner perspective? What is, I guess, like, when you bring a trainer in, right?
Yes.
What do those agreements typically look like in terms of, I guess I'm trying to think of, like, a client comes in, how do they get assigned to a trainer, or just depends on what the class they want to take, and that's the trainer you go with, or how does that work exactly?
No, and that's a great question. So for us, with having the kids and things,
Mhm.
training during the day works really well for me.
Mm.
And Maria, who was the previous owner, it works really well for her. But for the other trainers, evenings work best for them. So when I sit down with a new client coming in, I'll do their onboarding process and I'll ask them, what works best in your schedule,
Mhm.
days or evenings? If they say evenings, I automatically am thinking, okay, of the 2 trainers I had that train in the evening, which one seems to better fit this client based on their goals?
Mm.
Because some of the clients are very, say super tight and it's hard for them to move well. Well, then I'll assign them my one trainer who's really strong in like, stretching and movement development.
Mm.
But if they're an athlete, then I'll assign them to the other one because she loves working with athletes and the explosive side of things and all of that. So I just determine what are the goals and then who do they fit best with.
Okay. Awesome. And you're gonna have to educate me. Is the pay structure for trainers, is that hourly, or is it like a percentage?
So it's with our classes,
Mhm.
it's hourly.
Okay.
Now with personal training, it goes off of percentages.
Okay.
So how we break that down is say they bring a client into the gym. So it's an 80-20 split for them. So they keep 80% of what the client pays
Okay.
and we have 20.
Okay.
Now, for say I have someone come in and I do the onboarding process and I decide, hey, it's going to work best in this other trainer's schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's a 70-30
Mm-hmm.
because I could have taken that client but it works best for the other trainers. So I do a little legwork.
And they haven't acquired it. Like they just kind of walked in off the street or something, or
Yep.
they're coming in for the gym's name,
Correct.
that makes sense.
And yeah, that's kind of where that kind of lies. So we try to break it down and incentivize them. Hey, if you bring your own clients, you get a better result out of it, And then the last kind of tier we have is a 60-40%. So say I've been working with a client for half a year. I've done a lot of like work with that client, but I see one of my trainers doesn't have clients right now, and I know this client is solid. I might have them work with that trainer then, but then it's more of a 60-40 split.
You have the relationship, and you're kind of giving them that client to work with. That's
Absolutely.
awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you being open and stuff with that. I'm
man. I mean,
super curious about this stuff.
And I'm glad you asked that question, because those are things a lot of gyms aren't transparent about. Of like, well, why is it broke down this way? Like, why does it incentivize me to have bring in my own clients versus taking ones right from the gym? And because I know like we got kind of burned on a client, so now it's a lot different of a plan of how we kind of attack that.
Yeah, and you learn from experiences, whatever that may have been, and because sometimes it's like it's easy to, well, not easy, but you have policies or you have how you think it should work, and then all of a sudden something from left field comes in, and it's like, oh, we need a policy for this.
I learned that very many times.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think through that one.
Yeah, no, it happens. Like, I mean, like I think even like I said, whenever we had a team of about 30 people at the coffee shop, the restaurant, and so the business had been there for a while, and I'm not the owner, I'm just helping manage, right? But even in those instances, there's always something, or there's some nuance to it that is a little different, and you got to figure it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what, in terms of expenses when like running a gym, what is your highest expense in?
So our highest expense by far is our rent.
You're in a mall, right? Is that right?
We are.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's wild because the mall needs more businesses, but the rent is super high. So it's interesting to see businesses transition in and out of the mall, and being able to stay relevant enough that we can continue to do what we're doing, and keep the business, the mall, happy there as well.
Is it, if you had to guess on the mall, like how many of the spaces are taken, or what is the capacity like in terms of people actually renting out the storefronts?
I would say probably, if I could guess on storefronts that are there, let's say there's 200 there. I think it's something like that.
Oh, wow.
There might be half of them, if that.
Really?
Maybe a third.
Yeah, I know a lot of malls are kind of struggling to keep the businesses in there and stuff, and yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Actually, I had seen that some of the malls and stuff are turning into apartment buildings, and they're or like apartments or condos or whatever. Yeah. Yo, if they put a bunch of condos in there, you got the in-house gym right there. You know what
I'm golden, man. Yeah. I'm set for life, man. Let's do it.
You got 199 clients right there.
I'm in. Leave my space alone, but everybody else, I'm good.
Right.
Make it happen.
Yeah, that's sick.
Oh.
So if we can get into more of the, do you have a hard out, by the way, like a certain time you need off of here? Or?
No.
Okay.
I'm good, man.
Cool. So talk to me about, like, you enjoy training, obviously, you enjoy working with the people and stuff. What is the least favorite aspect of the business. Not to harp on
That,
negatives, but
no, I appreciate that. I'm very much of a one-on-one person.
Mm.
Like with training, you can have their goals, and then you can work from here to here, and you know where you're going. With group fitness, it's a lot harder because people aren't saying these are my goals. They're just, you're in a class working with everyone. So you don't necessarily know if you're hitting their goals or not.
Right.
So that's the tough part for me. That's the part I would say I like the least. Like not having a clear objective necessarily for the person I'm working with.
Yeah. If it's harder to kind of meet their unique needs or wants or whatever.
Yes.
For me, the worst part of if I had to put myself in your shoes would be I could see the like working one-on-one with somebody would be interesting. But
yeah,
everybody, or not everybody, a lot of people have a fear of like speaking in front of people, which is ironic because we're being filmed right now. But but like if I had a room full of people, I'm just like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you get that like hyper aware that you're being watched, you know what I mean, or whatever. So something I got to work on.
I feel that 100%, man, because it's wild. I love that you said that, because even teaching in front of a group of people, depending on how many there are, and if I know their instructors already, that gets interesting.
Yeah. So you're saying if you know that they are an instructor, or if okay,
it's harder because whether they're doing it or not, you don't know if they're evaluating their style of teaching against yours.
Yeah.
And seeing which, like, oh, I do this or I do that.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Like, what's he doing? Like,
yeah, like, did he make that up? Like, what's he doing?
Like, hey, you paid to come to my class. Like, you said,
yeah. Like, this is my spot. Don't mess my spotlight up.
Yeah. No, I could definitely see that. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
So, can you talk to a little bit about obviously you and Kay work on the business together. What are the things that she handles, and what is it like being business partners, and the dynamics with the family and everything? Like, what is that like exactly?
So she has always been the social media side of things. She'll do, the edits to videos. She'll do, sometimes she'll come in and take pictures. Sometimes she'll, just kind of handling the Facebook side of it, the incoming messages we get. And then on the other side of it, I handle more the relationships, the teaching, if there's something that I need to pick up as far as this message didn't get answered, okay, I need to step in and help out with that. So we kind of work together on that. And then with the kids kind of being in the mix, they'll come in, they'll sometimes watch me train, or they'll be in my office, but I'm able to go there and do work, and they're happy with how that kind of flows. So we kind of divide it up as best we can.
That's huge for them. Like if they see dad's training, mom's training, like in that gym life. First of all, your clients get to know them, and so everybody kind of knows to look out for them and stuff,
Yeah.
But also, it's like that healthy lifestyle and stuff. Like I love that. Like that's so cool that you guys are able to do that together.
It's awesome, man. And I always laugh when Bella's there because she's always like, I always tell people I'm the nice trainer. It's good you came now, because when she's older, it's gonna be rough.
She's gonna have the difficulty.
I tell you, man, it's wild. There's a client of mine, real quick, and I needed to get some more cardio in, so we'd walk the mall, whatever, to get some steps in and stuff like that. And she's like, "You need to walk faster. You're super slow. You're a mile behind me." And so I'm like, y'all are lucky it's me because I'm the nice one here.
Yeah.
It's
that
cool.
that would be a funny series, having her like little videos of her like training a class, and
Oh man.
because what you could do is you could actually film clients there, but then you could do the close-ups of her when she's just by herself, doing like
That'd be wild.
showing her attitude, maybe like have her like the 80s, like workout setup.
That'd
That'd be
be
funny.
phenomenal, man.
That'd be funny. Start a whole series on your
That'd be great.
page. I
Oh
actually
yeah.
there's a coffee shop. I saw another guy who was highlighting them on Instagram, but a coffee shop, I want to say in Brooklyn, and they actually started a
Okay.
whole series, and it's basically like it's like a TV show. People walk in, and it's like all for Instagram. They're like, what, like a minute or 3 minutes or whatever. And it's like literally episodic, where they come in, they do like a
Wow.
little thing. The baristas maybe have something kind of funny that they do, and then they leave. But it's like the quality is phenomenal. Like that they are using, they even color grading it. It's good.
What?
I have to look at it. I'll try and insert it here in the edit, but it's
Yeah, that's
pretty
cool.
pretty impressive. But yeah, like thinking of ideas like that, like how do we make this interesting? And even if it's not, I mean, in that they're not inherently, or they're not directly selling coffee in that in those episodes. They're not like, here, come buy
Yeah.
our coffee, but they're just making it interesting to the viewer, and they come back, they know what to expect. It's something that's repeatable, and so when it starts, it's like, I know what this is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's
Which
cool.
is, yeah, it's kind of interesting, but yeah. Anyway, sorry, a little tangent on that.
No, I think I was like that really piqued my interest.
Yeah, I'll send it to you I'll try and remember after the episode.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
What about, like, if we talk about the I guess like the day-to-day, or the like payroll and all that stuff, are you guys handling all that stuff yourself, or you have an accountant that handles that for you, or what does that look like?
So we have been handling all ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking to offload that. And that's actually a really interesting point as well, because I ran a boot camp fall of last year. And there was someone who came to our boot camp, and she was saying, hey, I want to continue to, come to the gym after this. She's like, would you be willing to do, I own an accounting firm. She's like, would you be willing to do like a kind of a bartering thing where I'll come in and do, accounting for you. I'll see which package works best, and we can trade that out for some personal training sessions. So
That's
we were
cool.
going to do that. And then I got sick, so then I wasn't able to. But that's something that we're definitely interested in, something along maybe that line. Because, that's a legit accounting firm. So I'm like, hey, why not?
That's huge, yeah. I mean, I know, like, obviously, there's nothing necessarily wrong with doing it either way. I was just curious, like, how do you guys manage that, or well, are you guys using a software? Like, what software are you guys using for that? Or
we're using
QuickBooks, okay,
for a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's bartering, I feel like, is underrated. You know what I mean? Like, especially early in a business, 100%. Like, yeah.
I mean, because you don't always have all the money in the world to outsource to someone. But if they're wanting to do that in exchange for something you offer, like, why not?
Right. Have speaking of that, actually, have you guys approached any businesses in terms of packages, if they have X amount of employees sign up, or something of a discount like that? Or
so I have not. That's been something I want to do this year. One of the really interesting, could be a new stream of income for us, but the physical therapy office I go to, I went to them for the 8 months before surgery, well, 6, and then they stopped 2 months before surgery. But they want me to bring in business cards, and they're actually refer the people who graduate out of their practice over to us to continue to work with them.
Really?
Huh. So yeah, so that's an interesting twist that's coming on as well.
Hey, you got a whole potentially a whole revenue stream off of that surgery, yeah? Like the injury.
I'm like, hey, I guess I have to injure myself. Not that I want to, but I guess I have to.
You're like, I got another shoulder here.
Yep, the other one's give me this right one to heal up, and I'll get the left one.
Oh man, I love that though. Like, you never know where that next idea, that next like you said, revenue stream potentially could come from. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so that's the cool part of being able to do that.
Mm-hmm. Let me see here. What if you had to give, somebody's interested in starting a gym somewhere and across the country, let's say, not in Pennsylvania. No, if you, yeah, no, but if you had to give a potential somebody who's dreaming of starting a gym, right? Let's talk about the gym owner potentially, and also the trainer, somebody looking to get into training. What are the two pieces of advice you give for those?
So I would say for the gym owner, like, say they have all the money to do it, all those things are great. Well, when you bring in new trainers, make sure everything is super clear. Because, and you can still get burned on it, but if you're super clear, like I had an attorney draft our personal trainer forms and things like that. You need to have that because you never know what can go sideways in that process. So make sure you just really are very clear with your trainers. And then for the trainer side of it, like, go above and beyond, because you never know what the owners are going to be looking for. And if you go above and beyond and do things you wouldn't necessarily have to, those owners, then if they're looking for someone to run management or they're looking for someone to do different things, they might move you up to that spot due to the fact that you were there and did things well above what others were going to do.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think if I just had to give employees in general advice, like, is the approach I always tried to take was what can I do, right, if a problem arises, or even before a problem arises, that that keeps my boss from having to hear about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think
that's really huge.
Like, if you can make your boss's life easier, they are going to appreciate that, because what they don't realize is if there are 7 employees, they're getting 14 different messages. You know what I mean? like potentially, right? Like, or you have a couple people who are the main stream of you keep hearing from. It might be different with I can't speak to your employees, but I know that
not any different for us.
Yeah. There's always. It's almost like you might feel the need to be like, hey, by the way, but they notice, they maybe like the managers and owners can do a better job sometimes of acknowledging that, but it is noticed, it is noticed. And if you can reduce that, like, I always, as an operations manager, my thing was always come to me and let's solve it before it even gets ahead. You know what I mean? I don't even have to say anything. I don't want them to even know about it, right? Because when, hopefully when they look back, it's like, oh yeah, like, I wasn't really getting messages. I wasn't really getting calls during this time. You know what I mean? And that is
absolutely, that
is valuable.
Well, yeah, because there's so much on the owner and manager's plate. Like, they have, I think for myself, there's so many different things going on in a day that if we're helped out, it means the world to us. And then us, being able to jump on things when we see it as well. That's been huge for us too.
Yeah, for sure. Cool, man. Well, I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm missing before I let you go. I mean, I feel like I could ask. Yeah.
It's been good. And I would say, if someone is if your business feels like it's struggling, because that's kind of for us, we're like, well, where are we going to get more clients. We need more clients. We want more clients. Then it's just the fact of what would bring us the most amount of revenue, not the fastest necessarily,
Mm-hmm.
but the most consistent.
Mm.
Because, you could go out and you could offer, I just think some people offer, a bunch of free things. And there's nothing wrong with free,
Mm-hmm.
but some people do that and almost lose out on the other end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Versus like being able to go out and maybe offer something free, but then help people bridge to the time when then, okay, this is a timeline on when the kind of the free ends.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we transition you smoothly to something?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think for myself,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm a trainer, I can offer a month free personal training, then how am I going to let them know? I guess I wouldn't do a month, but maybe a free week, but then how am I going to help them make it clear enough to them, this is what is going to happen after this week, so people aren't caught off guard.
Mm. So being clear maybe from the start, hey, this is a little taste of it, and then just so at this point, because going back to your thing of expectations and being clear with the trainers need to be clear with the clients. That way they know what's potentially coming.
Yeah, because that's what happened to us one time. Someone, they signed their personal training contract, but then I don't know if they didn't read it. I went down through all of it with them.
Yeah.
And had them, I said, make sure you read this before you sign it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then a couple months down the road, they were like, oh, well, I didn't really actually agree with what I signed. And I was like, well, was it unclear? And they said, well, no, it just, as I've progressed as a trainer, I really don't like that. So trying to, as a business owner, have intuition on when are things kind of starting to go sideways. Because that's a lesson I've learned of how do you be more vigilant in making sure that things are running as smoothly as possible.
Mm-hmm. Like usually once you start feeling a certain, at least, for me, once I started feeling a certain way about a job or about a whatever relationship, whatever it is, your intuition is typically kind of on track with reality. It's just the question is, are you going to acknowledge it or not? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 100%. And I know some people, they bury their head in the sand and they're like, hope it goes away.
Yeah, like it's easier to not have the conversation in the moment, but down the road it's going to be way harder.
Absolutely. And so that's been a big thing for me to learn, even because I'm not perfect in owning the gym. It's just learning when I have things happen. Can I jump on them quick enough to bring things to a smooth closure?
Yeah,
and whatever that looks like. Me and Ken have been super blessed, by a number of different people, from our church and God, because that's really where people are like, wow, you're so good at what you do. I'm just a normal person, man. I said, God gave me the ability, but
that's awesome, man.
It's been good, man.
So you get a lot of support from the church and the community and stuff. And
yeah, we do. A lot of them are helping, with having the one car, one's in the garage for inspection. Kay's working, so they're taking me, to therapy and places I need to go, and
that's awesome.
It's been cool. So a lot of support, from there as well.
Sweet. Have you guys? I don't know. Is there what do they call them? Homeschool co-ops or whatever? Have any of those groups approached you at all or no?
So that's actually where our speed and agility kids are from. That you see on our page. They're all homeschool kids.
Okay. I thought they were skipping class. So, no, that makes sense. That makes sense though. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a huge deal because the homeschoolers, they really don't have the gym classes. They don't have those things. And so being able to come to our gym and do speed and agility and teaching those kids, that's been that's a huge side of our business too.
Mm,
And even just the athletes and soccer kids and
mm-hmm,
basketball kids and all that.
mm-hmm. That's awesome. How has so one question is, like, the small business groups or chamber of commerce and stuff, have you guys gotten involved in that type of stuff at all, or not yet, or what are your thoughts on that?
So we have not gotten in with the Chamber of Commerce yet. We're actually, I know some people up there who have been saying, "Hey, come up and check it out." I just haven't gotten to yet,
Mm-hmm,
but I definitely want to do that because that's a huge area as well.
mm-hmm,
And then a website as well for us too. There's it's called the Small Business Development Center, but they said they'll help us build a website and things like that.
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, man. Like anything like that, the chamber of commerce, the small business development group. I'm more of an introvert typically, you know what I mean, unless I'm around people that I really know.
yeah,
But I actually went up to, so we're in Farmington, New Mexico, but we're real close to Durango, Colorado, and they have
okay,
lots of really really good resources up there in terms of, and I'm sure it's down here as well. But I somebody that we know up there recommended going to that spot, and they have,
that's
I
cool.
think it's like, I think it was like $20 you pay, and you can go in and they give you a lot of information. They bring in like they brought in like like accountants and lawyers, and kind of just gave insights into like starting a business. But then they also have classes for people who are already operating, and then like
Really?
yeah, it was pretty interesting. Like the one I went to was for startups, and the aside from the information you're getting from the people, what was really cool was the guy in front of me. He was an author, and he works with like equestrian type stuff. And
Oh,
so he and his wife just like, he flies all over the place to speak, and he has books out there and whatnot. But he turned around and they got my information for, potentially, because he's interested in starting a podcast as well. And so he turned around and got my information. So I think like those connections is something that sometimes
yeah,
I've underrated. You know what I mean? Like just put myself out there, go talk to somebody, and yeah, it might be worth checking out.
that would be awesome, man. I'm gonna have to definitely check that out because I'm like, how do I get myself out there more this year?
Hmm.
And really building it to where it needs to be.
Hmm.
I mean, it's one of those things for me where I was like, kind of like, oh, it'll probably take off on its own.
Mm.
And I was like, yep, that's not happening.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
just
It's
just something new for me.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of responsibility because it's like, okay, I have a location. I mean, I haven't been there yet, but I'm sure it is for you, right? It's like you have a location, you got people that, employees are counting on you to make sure this works and stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm not telling you anything you don't know already, but
Well, no, but I agree.
yeah, it's it's yeah, always looking for that next, how do I communicate the brand, and creating that, like, when they see this they know it's being at 200 Fitness, and that's
I mean, and
unmistakable.
that's so huge as well because the relationship we have with people will determine what people hear when the
Hmm.
name is mentioned.
Hmm. Yeah. Is so you guys are going to be working on the site this year, is that right?
We'd like to,
Potentially.
because kind of like you said, a lot of them are going to condos and different things like that.
Hmm.
And if we don't have something figured out,
Hmm.
and the mall decides to do that, then we might be out of our
Hmm.
space.
Okay, I'm sorry. I meant a website, but I would love to talk about
Oh,
this as well,
okay,
though.
yeah,
Let's talk about both if you're cool with it.
let's do both.
So let's talk about physical locations. So, not to put, I don't, in case the mall sees this, I doubt they will, see it, but if they were to see it, um, I don't want to put anything on blast, whatever. But like to your point, if you're in a location where you feel like, okay, to a degree, you're at the risk, at the mercy of, can they keep occupancy, in the mall?
Yeah.
Um, do you kind of have Do you see that as being a detriment, like at a certain point, or do you have you don't have to say it out loud either if you don't want to, but like, do you kind of have like a
No, that's
mental
fine.
goal of when you would want to have your other location, or?
Yeah, I do see that as something just simply because of how many stores have moved out of the mall. I
Mm-hmm,
mean, this is an open, honest, transparent, conversation.
mm-hmm.
And I don't want to run up against it where they're like, well, actually, we have this other business coming in. They're going to pay us more money for rent.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to, leave.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we've been eyeing a couple different locations, talking to some different people, things like that,
Mm-hmm.
trying to kind of get our ducks in a row in case we have to make a move. But then also our spot has been a pretty good spot. So it's just deciding in the next 6 months, are we going to stay there? When are we moving? What are we doing?
Mm. So your lease there, or your contract, is it year by year, or is it every 6 months, or how does that work exactly?
So we can kind of choose. We can
Okay.
either do a 6 month or a year.
Okay.
Now we're on, what do they call it? It's a certain type of lease where they can move us out at any point if they want.
Okay.
So that's kind of the issue.
Gotcha.
Because that's what happened at our location before the one we're in now.
Hmm. So you might get a better rate, but then it's, if they want to move you out, then they can move you out, type of thing.
Yeah.
Mm. But you said where you're at, you're kind of in a good location for the people around.
Yes.
Would you guys be buying or looking for another place to lease, or would you be bringing a partner in or something, or what was your guys' thoughts?
So we would like to buy a location
Mm-hmm.
because of the fact that it's ours.
Mm-hmm.
Like the mall space is not ours. Yeah, we're in that spot,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not technically ours.
Right.
So if we have a space that is ours, no one can move us anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're at.
Nice. Yeah.
So, and possibly a partner, depending.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's always, a whole another thing when you bring someone in, but it's, if it's the right person, it's like,
Yeah,
it works
absolutely.
out. Yeah. Oh, the website, that's where we're going.
The website, yeah.
So I mean, we saw a little bit with TikTok, the dangers of only being on, I mean, you guys aren't only on one platform, but the dangers of not owning a domain, let's say, right? Like,
Yeah.
or it's your website, nobody can really come in and shut it down, you know what I mean? Or if it becomes irrelevant, like, if you think back to like Vine or whatever,
Yeah.
before. So, these things eventually typically go away at some point. So yeah, I would definitely, recommend, getting a website, which I know these things, but I'm sure it would, even being a location, even like, I'm sure it would help with like search and ranking for that type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys need any help, let me know. I got you.
All right, man. I need help. We'll connect.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, man.
We need one done. So
yeah. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I love seeing what you guys are posting and stuff, and I actually, well, so for a new trainer, right? I was actually playing around with this idea before I got back in, like, active on this thing. I was like playing around, like, you know what? I should just go get my certification.
dude.
And so, which you see the different certification. I know ACE is real popular. The NM or whatever it's called.
NASM.
Yeah. That's another popular one. What is your advice in terms of when choosing one to get certified?
So this is actually a very great question because it's exactly what I did when I got certified. So I went on and I was like, okay, so who is like really well like spoken of? And ACE was the one that actually was the top of the list.
Okay.
That's who I actually went to.
Mm-hmm.
And they were phenomenal. People do, NASM, the NASM.
Mhm.
They're great as well. But I would say, look at your accreditation. If you're not going to do college, look at your accreditation and make sure that is spoken highly of.
Mm.
Because if it's not, and you go to gyms to apply, and they're like, who are you certified through?
Right.
And they're like, whoever it is, the gyms are going to be like, we really do a great job over there.
Right.
So we're going to say no.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that.
That's smart. I don't know if you've ever heard of Jordan Syatt before.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's a funny dude. He's very active on social media, but I think he's got 1 million followers now. But earlier on, when he was maybe a little bit less popular, I had messaged him. I don't know if this was 2017 or 18 or something. I don't know, something like that.
Okay.
And I emailed him and I was like, hey, so if somebody's interested in, getting certified and becoming a personal trainer, what's your advice? And his was kind of interesting. He said he would just get whatever the cheapest, most basic certification is. So I think ACE has a pretty affordable version of that as well. And he said do that. He said, and then but along with that is really dive in and learn and study aside from that, because the certification is just going to give you the right to be training people. But what makes a good trainer is the additional learning they do after they get the certification, keeping up with the information and all that type of stuff. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, and I mean, there's always things coming out, and if you're not up on it, you can age out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's great advice you gave there.
Mm-hmm. All right. What about the person watching who's like, you know what? They missed the January 1st deadline for starting, but no, I'm just kidding. But if you had to pick, let's say 3 exercises, a person can only do 3 exercises. What are the 3 exercises you tell them to do?
Ooh, that is a great question.
Let's say a 30-year-old guy or let's say a 25-year-old, something like that, who's able to exercise and they're not like any limitations necessarily.
All right. I would say push-ups are one.
Okay.
That kind of hits everything.
Mm-hmm.
I would say also squats would be a good one. It kind of hits all that. And then probably for the last one, I would say probably, this isn't one people usually say, calf raises.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Strengthening that whole lower area between the squats and the calf raises. I like that.
No one wants to be, lopsided or offset, all that. So
yeah. Hey, you got the push-ups, you got the lower. I like it. That's
yeah, man. It's a mix of everything. We do it all. Maybe throw a plank in there. It can be interchangeable with the calf raises. But,
mix it in there. Yeah. Actually, that's a good question. What are your thoughts on the different splits for people who are hitting the gym? You see the bro splits where they're doing chest and back or whatever, or doing the full body. What are your thoughts on the different approaches?
Yeah. So if someone has been doing it for a while, you can do more like your 5-day split, kind of more like the bro one. But a lot of people, I say, do like a push-pull legs. Or you can do push legs and pull, so you can kind of recover. But I would say the one that I normally use, a lot of my clients train with me 3 days a week. I'll do an upper body focus, so I'll pretty much hit all upper one day. I'll hit all lower the next day, or whenever their next training day is, and then I'll focus on cardio and core.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That way, they're able to get it all in. And usually 2 exercises per body part if we're going to do an hour session.
Okay.
You're doing a 3-day.
Nice. I like that. Yeah, I've been getting back to the gym, but I've just been lifting, man. I've been avoiding cardio like the plague. I'm like,
I know the feeling, man.
I jump on the Stairmaster once in a while, but I'm like, oh man, like,
It's
uh,
a beast, man.
yeah. Well,
Like, this
but
is
no, I
not
enjoy
for
it,
me.
man.
This Stairmaster
Yeah, Stairmaster. Yeah, but it's good
is
though.
wild.
It's fun. Like we go to there's a local college here, and they have a great gym in there.
Very
But
cool.
yeah, it's been good to get back to it again, and you know, I'm at the point now again where it's like, if I don't go, I start to. It's probably not healthy. I should probably talk to somebody about this. But where I'm like, oh man, I gotta go, or I'm gonna get like, I feel like the whatever,
Yeah.
building,
Dude,
but
I
it's
feel like that right now.
yeah. Oh,
Oh my,
dude, I feel bad, man. Yeah,
bro, it's rough, but we're making our way back. Watch the transformation. I got you.
bro. Okay, I'm gonna be watching. I want to see like that content coming out. I want to on the business page and your page and stuff.
Yeah,
And
man.
um,
Because that's I remember back when I was going to prepare for a bodybuilding show,
yeah, yeah.
and started in January 10th, and by March, end of March, we were down to like 155. So
Oh wow,
196 pounds to 155.
that's a
5 meals a day, man.
transformation. Dang. So so you were doing the 5 meals a day. You were doing that's a shred, man. That's
Dude, it was wild.
40 some pounds over 90 days. Is that
Yeah,
right? Whew.
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Dang, that's crazy.
it was a beast. It was and I was also working for Coca-Cola doing merchandising, so
That's right.
that's a beast too.
Yeah. No, I need to sit down and actually plan out. When we talk about the 90-day sprints or whatever, I gotta do that again. Where it's like, all right, here's the actual goals I'm trying to hit, and in terms of
Yeah,
fitness, you know
dude.
what I mean.
I'll help you
Um,
out.
yeah. All right. All right.
I got you.
We do a little barter.
Yeah, yeah, I got you. I got you. I'll help you
Uh,
out.
all right, man. I appreciate it. Hey, thanks for jumping
Yeah,
on
man.
and
Have a
stuff,
good one,
man.
man. Oh yeah,
Um,
man. Thanks for doing this, man. I mean, I really appreciate it. And it's been fun, man. Just catching up, and
yeah, we'll have
we
to
gotta
do
come
it
down and see you guys.
for sure. Yeah, come on out and visit us in the desert. You know what I mean? But
Better than here, man. It's cold.
yeah, I've been seeing that. I've been seeing the snow and stuff you guys have been getting. It's been getting cold here too, but it's like there's no snow. I mean, you see the Colorado mountains and stuff, but it's about an hour away, to see it. But
Oh yeah,
yeah, but no,
that's cool, man.
it's been all right. But yeah, I appreciate you putting up with me. I'm still getting used to the software and everything, but it's been good catching up, and we'll have to do another episode. Maybe we just chop it up about whatever.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I'll send you a friend of mine who he's a very interesting human being. So
All right, yeah. Anybody let me know. Also, the viewers,
yeah,
if you
dude.
guys know anybody interesting, let me know. Message me on Instagram, and we'll get more people on here. So, uh,
Awesome, man. I appreciate you, man.
all right, Rob. Say what's up to the family for me. All right,
I will, man. Say what's up to the fam as well.
for sure. Have a good one, bro.
All right, bro. I'll
All right,
catch you
we'll see you.
soon.
Yeah.
Hey guys, so I wanted to just jump on real quick. How to choose a location. So a lot of times people are like, well, I could do one anywhere. One of the things you want to look for is there much traffic near your area where you're looking to do the location? Is there the ability to expand your location? If you start, you build a location and you want to expand it, is it enclosed by a lot of businesses right around it, or are you able to expand it to as big as you want? Also, another thing I would say is make sure that you have a ton of visibility, because if there's not visibility, people have a much harder time figuring it out. And then also rough startup costs. I mean, it can vary. We were able to get our location or our gym. We were able to buy the gym for a very great cost. I would say probably look between a low cost gym, probably right around 50 to 75,000, give or take. If you're looking to go a lot bigger, you're looking at 150, 200,000, just maybe equipment wise, things like that. Just depends on what you're looking for. So whatever you do, make sure that you do your research, make sure you look at how much you can sometimes have companies come in and they will actually do equipment for you, and you're able to actually have them just lease the equipment from them, or you can buy your own equipment as well offline as well. So just depends on kind of what you're looking to do and also where you're looking to go. So I hope that answered your questions, guys. If there is more questions, definitely don't hesitate to ask, but I hope that helped.